Most people believe magnesium deficiency is rare. After all, magnesium exists in vegetables, nuts, grains, and water. On paper, it should be easy to get enough. Many assume that unless you are severely malnourished, your body probably has plenty. But this belief quietly hides a different reality. Magnesium deficiency is one of the most common nutrient imbalances in modern life. Not because people are starving, but because the way we live constantly drains magnesium from the body. Stress hormones burn through it. Highly processed food contains less of it. Poor sleep, caffeine, alcohol, and even intense exercise can accelerate its loss. And the strange part is this. Magnesium deficiency rarely announces itself loudly. Instead, it whispers through small symptoms that seem unrelated. A muscle twitch here, a restless night there, a strange wave of fatigue, a sudden pounding heartbeat. Individually, these signs look harmless, but together they reveal something deeper happening inside your cells. Because magnesium is not a minor nutrient. It quietly controls more than 300 biochemical reactions inside the human body. It stabilizes nerves, relaxes muscles, balances blood sugar, supports the heart's electrical rhythm. And when magnesium levels start to fall, the body begins sending signals. Small warnings that its internal chemistry is losing balance. Here are 7 of the most common ways your body tries to tell you it needs magnesium. 1. Your muscles twitch or cramp without warning. Many people assume muscle cramps happen simply because of dehydration. But that explanation is incomplete. Magnesium plays a critical role in muscle relaxation. To understand this, imagine muscles as tiny biological machines that constantly contract and release. Calcium triggers the contraction. Magnesium signals the muscle fibers to relax. When magnesium levels drop, this balance breaks down. Calcium continues triggering contraction, but the relaxation signal becomes weaker. The result is uncontrolled muscle activity. Twitching eyelids, nighttime leg cramps, muscles that tighten suddenly for no obvious reason. This is why athletes sometimes experience cramps even when they drink plenty of water. Hydration alone cannot fix a relaxation signal that is missing. Because the real issue isn't water. It's the mineral that tells your muscles when to stop contracting. And muscles are not the only system magnesium helps calm. Your nervous system depends on it too. 2. Your sleep feels restless or shallow. Sleep is not simply the act of lying down and closing your eyes. It is a carefully orchestrated neurological process. Your brain must gradually shift from alertness into deep restorative states, controlled by neurotransmitters and hormones. Magnesium helps regulate several of these systems. It supports the activity of GABA, a neurotransmitter responsible for calming the brain and preparing the body for sleep. Think of GABA as the brain's natural dimmer switch. When it activates, mental activity slows. The nervous system relaxes. The body begins transitioning toward rest. Magnesium helps this switch function properly. But when magnesium levels drop, the nervous system becomes more excitable. Thoughts race more easily, the brain stays slightly alert, even when the body is tired. This is why some people feel exhausted but cannot fall asleep. Or they wake repeatedly throughout the night. Or their sleep never feels deeply restorative. It is not always a sleep disorder. Sometimes it is simply the brain lacking the mineral it needs to power down. And when sleep begins to suffer, another symptom often follows. 3. Your heart sometimes feels like it skips a beat. Your heart is controlled by an intricate electrical system. Every heartbeat begins as a tiny electrical signal traveling through specialized cardiac cells. Magnesium plays a crucial role in stabilizing these signals. It regulates the movement of calcium and potassium across cell membranes, minerals that control the rhythm of the heart. When magnesium is sufficient, this electrical communication remains stable and coordinated. But when magnesium levels fall, the electrical balance can become slightly unstable. The result may feel like a flutter in the chest, a sudden skipped beat, or a brief moment when the heart seems to pound unexpectedly. Most of the time, occasional palpitations are harmless, but they are also one of the ways the body signals that its electrical system may need support. Because magnesium doesn't just affect muscles and sleep, it influences how the entire nervous system handles stress. 4. Stress feels stronger than it should. Stress is not only a psychological experience, It is a chemical cascade inside the body. When stress occurs, the adrenal glands release hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones prepare the body for action, raising heart rate, sharpening focus, and mobilizing energy. Magnesium helps regulate this stress response. It acts as a natural buffer for the nervous system, preventing stress hormones from remaining elevated for too long. But stress itself also consumes magnesium. This creates a hidden feedback loop. Stress drains magnesium. Low magnesium makes the nervous system more sensitive to stress. And suddenly, everyday challenges begin to feel more overwhelming than they used to. This is why people under chronic pressure often develop symptoms like muscle tension, headaches, poor sleep, and fatigue. Their nervous system has lost some of the mineral support that helps it stay balanced. And when that balance shifts, energy production can begin to suffer as well. 5. Your energy levels feel unstable. Energy in the human body does not come directly from food. Food must first be converted into a molecule called ATP, the universal energy currency used by cells. Magnesium is essential for this process. In fact, ATP almost never exists alone inside the body. It is typically bound to magnesium, forming a complex that cells can actually use. Without magnesium, ATP becomes far less effective. Think of it like electricity without wiring. The energy exists, but it cannot reach the machines that need it. When magnesium levels decline, energy production becomes less efficient. People often describe this as a strange type of fatigue. Not the exhaustion of sleep deprivation, but a persistent sense that the body simply cannot generate the energy it should. Tasks feel heavier, workouts feel harder, recovery takes longer, and over time, this subtle metabolic slowdown can ripple outward into other systems. One of the most noticeable is blood sugar regulation. 6. Your blood sugar feels harder to control. Magnesium plays an important role in how the body responds to insulin. Insulin is the hormone that helps move glucose from the bloodstream into cells. But insulin does not work alone. It relies on a series of cellular signals that allow cells to recognize and respond to it properly. Magnesium helps activate many of these signaling pathways. When magnesium levels are low, insulin signaling becomes less efficient. Cells become slightly less responsive, and glucose may remain in the bloodstream longer than it should. Over time, this pattern can contribute to insulin resistance. Researchers have consistently observed that people with lower magnesium intake often have a higher risk of developing metabolic problems. But magnesium deficiency can show up in even subtler ways. Sometimes the signals appear in the brain itself. 7. You experience more frequent headaches. The brain is an electrically active organ. Billions of neurons communicate through electrical signals and chemical messengers. Magnesium helps regulate this activity. It stabilizes nerve cells and prevents excessive stimulation of certain receptors in the brain, particularly NMDA receptors, which are involved in pain signaling and neurological excitability. When magnesium is low, neurons can become slightly more reactive. This heightened sensitivity may contribute to tension headaches or migraines in some individuals. Researchers studying migraine patients have repeatedly found that magnesium deficiency appears more frequently in people who experience recurrent headaches. The brain, like the heart and muscles, depends on stable electrical communication. Magnesium helps maintain that stability. And when its levels fall, the nervous system often becomes more reactive than it should be. Why the signs are easy to miss. Magnesium deficiency rarely produces one dramatic symptom. Instead, it creates a constellation of small signals: muscle tension, poor sleep, stress sensitivity, fatigue, occasional palpitations, headaches. Each symptom alone may appear unrelated, but they all share a common biological thread. Magnesium's role as a stabilizer: it stabilizes muscles, it stabilizes nerves, it stabilizes electrical rhythms inside the heart and brain. And when that stabilizing force weakens, systems that normally run quietly in the background begin to show subtle cracks. The final reframe. Magnesium is often called the quiet mineral. Not because it is unimportant, but because its effects are subtle. It doesn't create sudden bursts of energy like caffeine. It doesn't trigger dramatic hormonal shifts. Instead, it quietly keeps the body's internal chemistry balanced, helping muscles relax, helping the brain calm down, helping energy flow smoothly through cells. And when magnesium levels are sufficient, many of the body's systems simply work the way they were designed to. calmly, efficiently, without drawing attention. But when levels begin to drop, the body starts sending signals. Small whispers that something inside its chemistry needs support. And learning to recognize those whispers can make the difference between constantly chasing symptoms and restoring the quiet balance your biology depends on.